Hello and welcome to a midweek edition of Wardy's Waffle. I'll just start off by giving you a few rainfall figures. We finished planting the spring crops apart from haricot beans last Friday, and that was the last field was a sugar beet we got in then. Really glad I did, because we've had 18-20 millimetres of rain since, with probably 8 or 9 millimetres yesterday and I think 6 the day before. So yeah, huge amount of rain we've had, so I'm pleased we persevered and got the sugar beet in. Anyway, I want to start this update with an announcement about Forage Aid. You can see the logo there. So the very beginning of this will be an important announcement, really exciting future for Forage Aid. I'll not give any away till you listen to what I've got to say about that, and then I go through some of the spring crops and some of the germination of the spring crops, which is really good at the minute. The soil is so warm, and then one or two other bits around the farm. So hope you enjoy this midweek update. Thanks very much for watching, and please come back with any questions about Forage Aid or anything on here, and if you make it to the end, we'll see you then. It's an extremely exciting day for Forage Aid, because for the last year or so we've been in discussion with the Addington Fund about merging. We started helping farmers in 2013 after the extreme snow in Cumbria. Then 2014, Somerset had those horrendous floods. 2016 there was more floods, but this time in Cumbria. Then in 2019 there were floods around Reeth, which is near Richmond in Yorkshire, and then also Matlock in Derbyshire, and then 2020 Lincolnshire and Doncaster, and we've had one or two events, smaller events since then. And in that time we have managed to move around 450 lorry loads of feed and bedding, which is valued at about £850,000, and we've helped in the region of 150 farmers. And also livestock have benefited from this as well, obviously. Now, Addington Fund have also been carrying out a similar type of relief under their disaster relief brand. Now, it seems silly for us to be sort of competing with one another and both of us doing the same thing, because housing is also a major issue, and Addington carry this out as another one of their remits. Now, it made sense to join forces, so we've been talking with Addington, and I'm extremely excited to say that today is the day we've merged. So Forage Aid is still going to be happening. There is still going to be Forage Aid brand around. Forage Aid is still going to be high profile on social media. We've had a tremendous amount of support from a lot of the community, a lot of manufacturers of machinery, other farmers who've donated feed and bedding to us. So please carry on that. Forage Aid is not going away. It's going from strength to strength, but we're going to be combining forces with Addington. So thank you very much for all your support over the past few years. It is hugely appreciated by myself as chairman of Forage Aid, by the other trustees of Forage Aid, and farmers around the country and livestock also who have benefited. So please keep that coming, and we really appreciate everything you've done for us, because without your help and support, Forage Aid wouldn't be the huge force it is today in the agricultural charity world. Pulled up to the field that we had sugar beet in and lifted it in December and got it dragged on the frost. Just listen to these skylarks. Constantly told by tree huggers that bird life in the UK is dead. Just listen to this. Brilliant. Anyway, yeah, this is the field that we've had to leave the headlands. Remember seeing last week, and all throughout the last few weeks I've been saying how wet these outsides are, and then we've got some soil there that Barry's cleaned out the dike that we've put on the edge, and it was wet down here, so we had to leave this. But you can just see now how wet it is. We've had all this rain this week, but I must admit this seed crop of barley looks really well. It's been in just over a week, that's all. And when you look at here where Tom nearly got stuck with a drill, you can just see how wet this is. So we'll sort this out sometime in the summer when it dries up properly. But yeah, looking at the spring barley here, pleased with this, looking really well. I think also it just highlights this straightness, how much better Green Star is than Trimble on the GPS side, with the Case Quad Track and the Case Puma and other tractors we've been on Trimble, now swapped to Green Star. The new sprayer will be on Green Star, and that is just arrow straight, no little squiggles down the field, which we used to get with Trimble. But yeah, really pleased how these look. But as I've said for a while, you'll get bored of me saying this, the yield penalty from being so late putting these crops in the ground because of the wet, the yield penalty obviously will be unknown until harvest. So that's the field I've just been looking at. Then here we've got another winter bird flu plot that needs fetching up. Got feeder there that's always very popular. The yard's only just through there. Looking at this plot again, lots of green growing in the bottom, black grass there growing, lots of rubbish weeds. This is the only slight snag with these plots. They do open up as such when they're in the second year and they let a lot of rubbish grow and it don't really want to grow. So this has all got to be sprayed with Roundup before it's cultivated and a new one's plot is re-established. Just have a quick look in this feeder. There's almost wheat underneath, but that's all right. Yeah, well down. So needs a bit more putting in it. They need filling up soon, but actually now we're going to move, to be honest, as we're going to cultivate these now, and these don't want filling up, so we'll leave that and we'll be able to move it easily. Once it's full, you can't hardly move it. Yeah, and it's wheat, that's all it is, just straight wheat in those feeders. See a nice grass margin down there. It's been in again since 2005. Then we've got the paddock just through here, and of course we used to do haylage, but we've stopped doing it this year. So really pleased with that because it was proven to be a bit of a hassle. And these are spring beans. These were planted, I think, the 21st of April. So the first spring crops we did, apart from some sugar beet that was done early April up on the light land on the heath. But beans always are a lot slower to come through than other crops, but all emerged here well. But harvest date will be very late. I would say very late September, depends a lot on the summer, but we shall see. So just carrying on looking around at the crops we've drilled. This is the beet field we drilled on Friday. Really pleased we did because we wouldn't have got it in since, but this is one of the spots where I nearly got stuck with the cultipress and the drill didn't do it any favours at all. Really wet just here, which is, Nala, come off, good girl, which is surprising because there is a drain runs just underneath here all the way up to that dike, which we'll have a look at in a minute. And yeah, you can see the drill sunk in a lot, and I was struggling when I worked it with the cultipress. Nala, come here, and come on, Nala, good girl. So yeah, we're going to have a look at that dike at the end and just see what the problem is. But I think we're going to need to get Barry in here with his excavator, dig down here and just find this pipe, just see what's happened. And again, you can see this wet spot just before we get to the dike. It's where the beet drill sunk in when it was turning, just in there the other day in the other video. So this is the small dike that there is an outlet in. There we can see. It's a bit covered over with rubbish, but behind that sort of cover there in the dike bank, there is a pipe. I'm not going to go down there because I haven't got my wellings on. I know what'll happen, I'll slip in the dike, but there's a pipe there. I just need to see whether it's running or not. And that pipe goes all the way along that beet headland to where you've just seen it wet. So there is a problem somewhere for that spot to be wet like that, and this corner here. Just looking out the office window and can see the young goslings that were hatched off. There's still 7 there, so that's good. But also in the background, there we go, there's some even younger ones just behind that tree. Can't quite see what there is, 4 or 5 of those. I've only just spotted those for the first time today. I've just been walking along the lane here and I can hear some water running. And lo and behold, the drains are starting again. Just incredible when you see the amount of rain we've had in the last few days. Just check this one up here. Is this one going? Yep, this one is as well. So pleased we've done all the dikes out. Spent about, I think, 12,000, something like that, £12,000 doing them all out. but haven't been done for a few years, so well worth it. Obviously these dyke banks will all green up and grow up with grass, but because we've now dug out around the pipes like that, we'll know where they are and be able to find them every year. So just looking across this field of winter wheat, this is after beans, and I must say it looks really well, and I think this just vindicates our decision to keep going beans actually in the field just across the lane there, even though it's very, very late. But obviously the nicer through up in rows now, you can just see, and the heaps of soil you can see there from a dike on the edge of a lane. So we've tipped it there, and then we're going to be spreading that out in the field after harvest. But yeah, I think it just backs up the decision to carry on growing, carry on putting our beans in the ground. But this wheat looks particularly well when you look at it. I've just noticed something here that obviously the farmers amongst you will know, but when can you see some of these leaves? Let me just pull that off. Actually, let me just pull that plant up. Can you see that leaf? Let me just go where I can get a camera focused. It's focusing on the crop behind and not the leaf. Can you see there, just above my thumb? There we go. There's a kink in the leaf there. That is where the frost has caused that. So when that leaf was coming through the leaf sheath, just where my thumb end is, it causes the plant sap to freeze up, and it pinches the leaves. And any leaves like that that's got a kink in is where the frost has done it. And just see a touch of disease on the end of these leaves, but we've got the spray on now, so we're... Paulie has just arrived with the Hericut bean seed and their plot drill, Agri's plot drill. So we've got some trials going in just over the field, just to the side of this hedge. So the field is the only one we've got left to plant, and it is, if I can get through the hedge, no stay Nala. The field is there. It's about 13 acres, so 4.5 hectares, and that's where it is. So and then it's too wet to do anything with it at the minute though, and with the rain we've just had, and we're going to get the plots in as soon as we can, and then we're going to drill the rest of the field with our free flow drill. I've just come to the River Brant, which is this river that a lot of our dikes go into, about probably half a mile, 3/4 mile that way. And you saw in my video last week where I got a picture of this Upper Witham drainage board machine. You can see it's a huge long reach excavator, and I thought they were working, but they're not. So I'll come back another day and just hopefully get some footage of them working to see what they're doing. But I'll just turn the camera around to just show you the repairs that they've been doing to this river bank. This is on one of the farms with Contract Farm, and there's a grass field here, and there were a few drains put in the other end of this grass field near that hedge, near where the sheep are, 3 or 4 years ago, but they've never been very successful. And what we sort of found out was that some of the drains has collapsed and have been damaged when the River Board have been scoping out this, which they do every year. So that's one that's been found and put back in. But there's a big one here, because when Tom planted these beans, how long ago? 23rd of April, I think it was. When Tom did those, you can see here it's wet. He couldn't do so far up here because it was wet. Well, you can see water standing there all the way to the tree, and it was because the drains had collapsed. Anyway, the River Board have been brilliant, and you can see some of the pipe there. You can see the amount of sediment and soil in there. They've redone these and reconnected them, pulled them out and put a new one in. Just look at the volume of water that's coming out that one. That pipe is about a 9-inch pipe, and it's connected to 3 or 4 land drains out this field behind me here. So there's no wonder it was wet when you see the volume of water coming out that now. So it's done a real good job, and Nala obviously is investigating and wants a drink. Yeah, she doesn't mind water at all. She'll go for a swim quite happily. Just about to get out my discovery, and this hare has just lolloped alongside me. I think it spotted me. Look at that. Incredible creatures. So we've got Barry back here just for a couple of hours. He's just come and collect his digger, but we've just got him to scrape this area off while he's here, because This is what's known as the old combine shed for a reason, because my father had it put up in the early 60s or mid 60s purely to keep the combine in over the winter. Now when you look at it against Barry's JCB here, it's not very big. That's because it used to house a Massey, was it 535 or something, or I can't remember, 5 something combine without a cab, and we use it now just purely to keep dual wheels and things like that in. But it's got grown rubbish and things around the doorway here. We made these doors ourselves a few years ago, but we just use it at the minute to keep dual wheels in and keep those dry and safe, and obviously we store them flat because they're safer like that. That one, this is a trailer wheel, it can't fall over, but yeah, we store them like that and it keeps them all nice and dry. And we're just digging this off. We're going to put a few planings down here, just tidy this up. So we're getting things squared up as well for the Lincolnshire Young Farmers Rally that is a week on Saturday. So those of you in the area would like to come, please do come. Lots of classes. There's dog classes as well as young farmers classes, and I'll put the link up, which is here and also in the description of this video, so please take a look at that. It's across all social media platforms as well at the moment, young farmers sites and whatever. Anyway, this is field here right near the yard. You can see right near the road, you can see here the A17 in entrance into the farm, and this is the paddock that we are going to park the cars in. The only slight snag is it is quite wet at the minute, which I'm a bit surprised about, because it is drained and we have cut it with the Kubota mower. But you can see behind me we've got a little strip there not cut, and that's because unfortunately yesterday afternoon when Ian was cutting it, there's a big clash and a bang, and the drive stopped on the Kubota mower, and the gearbox is gone. So we'll have a quick look at that and just show you what's gone wrong there. But we do need to just improve, we do need to just mend that. You can see here a bit of water stood here, so we need to get that sorted as well and keep cars off that. But I'm going to try and get some panels to go in this gateway here. So here's the deck. Ian's taking it off, and that's where it all fits on the top through there and drives the blades underneath. So we'll just have a look at the gearbox. So it has gone. There is the crown wheel and pinion as it's known. And of course that would sit on there like that. That would rotate like that on the edge, which then drives that, which then drives the rotor and the blades underneath. So yeah, properly gone. So we're just going to see whether we get the parts for it, whether it's cheaper to get an actual new gearbox and just put it on as one. Going out the gate, and the lorry's just pulled up with another load of fertiliser, another 30% nitrogen. So we're just filling up the tanks just to, so we've got enough for next week. We've got a lot of crops, to wheat and spring crops, to put some more, another application on. But this was bought early on in the year when it was about, let me just turn the camera around. This was bought last winter when it was, we actually bought it for £630 a tonne. But then we've actually got some other stuff. The rest of ours lots come in there to just over 300 because it's left from last year. So this is why you saw me a week or two ago with Tom Land and Fred, our agronomist from Agri, using the end tester. We really want to fine tune to the crop requirements and make sure we don't overdose it, because at £630 a tonne it is expensive. I think now you can buy it at about £400 a tonne. But we've benefited last year because we were really low last year. We bought it right, so it's only going to be probably 2 or 3 loads of fertiliser that we're buying at an expensive price. But when we get it all on and all the crops applied, I'll run through those costs and show you what our average fertiliser cost is for the various crops. You can see Nala's playing with her stick here. She's very easily occupied, a fantastic nature dog. Anyway, that's it for this midweek update. Thanks very much for watching. Hope you've enjoyed it, and we'll see you on Sunday.